Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Move Better with the Cheer PT podcast. Today, I have with me Julia Ehrlich from the Tampa Bay region, right? Tampa region in Florida.
Yep, yep.
And Julia is a former cheerleader and a fitness coach. And she and I have been working together for the last 3 months in her Cheerbod challenge. So, we're going to talk today a little bit about that and talk about her journey in cheerleading and fitness and um, everything that brought us here together today. So, thank you very much for joining me. Welcome to the show, Julia.
Yeah, thank you so much, Laura. I am so excited to be here, and I have been working with you for some time, so it feels awesome just to be able to connect and be on one of your podcasts here.
I'm excited for it too. So it's fun. So tell us a little bit about your cheer journey, how you got started in cheer, and you know where you started and where you're at today.
Yeah. Oh gosh, cheerleading's been such a long journey for me. I've started 12 years ago, but before that, even my parents were putting me all throughout different sports as a young girl. I was going to dance, gymnastics, picking all of the above, right? As a young child, you're going in all of different sports. And I even remember talking to my mom when I was about 12 years old, and she was like, Julia, can you just pick a sport? Can you pick something? Like, I feel like I'm driving you everywhere to dance, gymnastics, acting camp, tennis. And I was thinking to myself, oh man, it is a long time that you are driving me, you're doing all this different stuff for me. I have to pick something. Um, so starting out in seventh grade was kind of my first introduction to cheer. One of my girlfriends at the time told me about the seventh grade cheerleading team that we had at our school. And I was like, cheerleading? Like, whoa, I've seen so many cool movies about cheerleaders and all the fun skills that they do. They're flipping, they're throwing each other up. I was like, that honestly sounds kind of fun. So she was the first person that actually talked about the aspect of cheerleading. And of course, I had gymnastics experience in my youth, so figured it couldn't be too hard. So I tried out for the seventh grade team, and I made it. And I wanted to be one of the best. I have a very competitive nature about me, so I wanted to train to be the best. And luckily, putting in all the hard work I did when I made it to high school, I got accepted onto the varsity team. I was the only freshman that got accepted onto varsity, which was pretty much a big deal. And at that time, I was in the state of Colorado, and the cheerleading team at my high school was one of the best at the time because we had an all-star cheerleading coach. Um, and he was going to be coaching our cheerleading team, and it was like the talk of town. If you're in the cheer community, our cheerleading coach was coaching our high school. It was the talk of the town that you better, if you're going to that high school, like, you're on the good team, you're going to be winning. So that even fueled my motivation more. I was like, whoa, okay. And so it was an amazing experience. I learned discipline from the very beginning, like pushing myself to the max with tumbling, with stunting, all the fun cheerleading skills. And I was driven and I was shredded. I'll tell you, in high school, I was killing it. And with all that discipline and motivation, I ended up being a state championship with my team in my freshman year of high school. And we did it again too, my sophomore year too. So we had 2 state rings from freshman and sophomore year. Um, and my junior year, when it came to cheerleading, I was having a little bit of trouble because pushing my body to that extent, like over and over again, my spine started twisting. So I really had to do some like recovery stuff too, and take a semester off of cheerleading, which honestly tore me apart. But like, my spine was twisting. What are you supposed to do with your body? You're supposed to relax and you're supposed to rest it up. So that was a really learning experience that, okay, like, even though if you're going hardcore in sports, you really have to make sure to rest your body or do physical exercises to make sure that you're taking care of it and you're actually being able to work it, because you need your body for the rest of your life. Um, and when it came to my senior year, I jumped back into cheerleading. For my high school, was doing all-star too for the competitive nature since I liked it. Went full throttle again. And when it came to college, one of the best, like the best cheerleading team in the state of Colorado is CU Boulder. They have all standing tucks on their team. They have all their tumbling skills, highest stunting skills, like rewinds or any kind of awesome baskets. So I wanted to be on the school that had the best cheerleading team. I really wanted to push myself to do that. So one of my goals going into college was telling myself I was going to be good enough to make it onto the best cheerleading team in Colorado. And when it came to tryouts, like I remember one of the hardest aspects was doing a standing backflip with palms in my hands, which I had never done that before. And when you do a backflip or a back tuck, you know, you use your arms and then you tuck really hard and that's how you're landing. But without using your hands and having palms in your hands, I was scared to death, honestly. I was like, oh man, okay, I've never done this before, but here we're going to go at it. And luckily I landed it and I made it onto the team that year. And it was an amazing experience. Like, it was really cool. But at that time too, I ended up getting a concussion halfway through the year, my first year of college. And when I was getting back onto it, I had I had to take some time off, like with a concussion. One girl fell on my head, so I needed to take a month and a half off. But as I was getting back into it, some of the girls were snarky at me and like, oh, why can't you get back into it sooner? You know, you've been out, like it's time to get back in, time to find that drive again. I'm like, guys, you know, you guys have been training every single day, from waking up at 5 a.m. and having our 6 a.m. practices, like weight training every single day, going to games every weekend on a Friday or Saturday or a Sunday. And then in between any kind of trainings that we needed to get together and practice as a squad. And for me to be able to go back into that full throttle after having a concussion and being out for a month and a half, it was tough. It was tough. And being able to receive some of these snarky comments that were coming, like that was even harder too, for like the mental perspective. It didn't really feel like that full functioning, like heartfelt team that you feel with cheerleading, which like makes you want to stay. So it was tough. And at that point in time right there, I stopped and I was like, you know what? I can't do this. I need some time to be able to focus on myself and to be able to think about, what is a team actually? Why am I joining a team? I'm there for the compassion. I'm there to like uplift each other, and I'm there for the spirit too. And heck yeah, that's going to come with the competitions and being awesome. So my junior year of college, or actually, excuse me, my sophomore year, I joined a club dance team. I got accepted onto the dance team, and they really showed me what a team was. They showed me that we're working together in order to compete. We're lifting each other up, and we're actually functioning as a team. And the more compassion we have with each other, the more team spirit, like that's the way a team functions. And that's the same way that I've gone through all my sports throughout high school. And I was like, this is cool. This is awesome. But my junior year of college, I felt to myself, okay, my heart's still in cheerleading. No matter what, I've been doing this for the past 10 years. I love cheerleading. We're going to be able to stick with this. So I created a club cheerleading team my junior year in college. And it was very different than any other team because I wanted to keep it open. It's called the Boulder Buffs cheerleading team. And it was open to anyone, whether they've done cheerleading before, whether they haven't done cheerleading, whether they wanted to do something fun. And so I created a club team, and it was hard because when you're taking people from all different walks of life, and putting them into some sort of team, like that's unheard of. Usually in order to be a part of a cheerleading team or to be a part of any sport, you have to have a certain skill level to be able to keep up and keep motivated with everyone. Now, because my team was open to anyone, it was a lot of modeling and really creating that team and inclusive community so that we could all work together throughout the same amount of time and come together and form a team. And it was awesome. Over 2 years, like of working with the logistics of getting members excited about it, really working as a community, having coaches alongside of me. Like we were able to go to nationals and compete our second year of being a college club cheerleading team with all of the other colleges that had been practicing, all the other established cheer teams. And it was really amazing. So that's when I was like, okay, like I've left my legacy at CU Boulder, passed it on to a couple of my captains that really wanted to continue the club to see it grow. My coaches had so much fun. They wanted to continue it for another year, coaching the team that I created. So like I felt amazing. And at that same time too, I was kind of scared as I was nearing the end of college because I was thinking about, all right, this is the end. This is the end of my cheerleading career. It's been fun so far, but now it's probably time to focus on work. Like I can't do cheerleading for the rest of my life. Like it's just not going to happen because as an adult, there's not any options out there for cheerleading. Usually if you're good enough to make it to college, you can go an extra 4 years if you want. But if you're not good at the end of high school, you can't. Like your cheerleading career ends there. So I was thinking about, how I'm going to lose a part of my identity after college. I'm just going to have to work. And so it took me a year to really like realize and reflect on that situation and just say, well, what am I going to do about this? I really want to continue cheerleading, some sort of aspect of cheerleading. And there's nothing out there for adults. Sure, they have some NFL dances that they call cheerleaders, which that's totally awesome. And I love and respect what they do, but it's not the same competitive aspect of cheerleading. So really reflecting on that for some time, I also like looked at my physique from cheerleading after a year of graduating college. I looked in the mirror and I was like, man, I was shredded when I did cheerleading. Like my abs were popping, my legs were toned, my arms were good because I was doing these skills and these athletic movements and fitness movements that were just automatically toning my body without even thinking about that. And it took me a year to really realize and come to terms with the fact that I was enjoying it. I was having fun with cheerleading. And that's why I was toned. And I was thinking about to myself, okay, like how can I still be toned where I don't have to go to the gym and I can still incorporate aspects of cheerleading and have fun with it again? So I decided that the only way to do this was to be able to take the fundamentals of cheerleading, what I've learned over the past 10 years, be able to practice those same movements, those same skills to be able to get my toned body back to where I wanted it to be, like I was in cheerleading, and just have fun with it. So that's when I started putting together my Cheerbod challenge, actually, which is what I'm doing now. And what it is I was working for 12 weeks, and that's when I started seeing actual changes in my own personal body. Is after 12 weeks of incorporating my fitness movements for at least less than 30 minutes, like I was seeing physical changes in my body. I was seeing, the kind of like cellulite, I guess, under your butt, near your legs. Like I had a little bit of that after I stopped cheerleading. But then after I was doing my Cheerbod exercises, I was like, whoa, hold on, something's happening here. Like, and I was thrilled to be able to see this improvement in my own personal body. And a lot of my friends were actually asking me for fun tips too, because they didn't have time as a busy adult, now that we all are, like in our work schedules, it's hard to fit in a lot of times of fitness, like going to the gym for 1 or 2 hours. So just doing quick little at home fun cheer based workouts were really engaging to them and they were having fun. And that's when I was thinking to myself, whoa, hold on, I could actually create a business out of this because it's something that my friends are wanting. That's how you make a business, right? A product and or a service that someone else wants that you can see results from, and some special skill that you have, like that's when you're going to have a business. So that's when I decided to go full in and say, okay, like cheerleading does not have to be just for younger kids anymore. We can actually use this as some awesome fitness to be able to see results. So right now I am continuing cheerleading as adult, and I really want to make it known to women and adults too that cheerleading doesn't have to stop after high school. Like we can continue our awesome having fun college experiences into our adult world, because the more you do it, the more you have fun with it, the better you feel and the awesome results that you're going to have. So that's been a long-winded story as to where you started and where you're at right now, but that's been my experience so far, and it's been awesome to be able to share with women this experience and the Cheerbod.
That's that. I think I see it growing exponentially as you go along. Because I think you're right. Like, we all, if we've cheered before, recognize where we were at when we were in the throes of cheerleading, whether it was high school, college, or youth, whatever, and how your body, how flexible you were, how not stiff, so like as an older woman, everything, I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh, everything's so stiff, but creating movement and like incorporating what we did back then into your regular routines and kind of just even bits and pieces of it, it kind of challenges your body in a different way that you maybe your body has forgotten, or yet you want to continue if you're even just coming straight out of school or straight out of cheer, and creating that fun practice and like, oh yeah, I can still do this is I think you can keep growing exponentially with that. I think people will find that enticing, I guess is the word. Yeah,
exactly. And from that stance too, a lot of people think that they wake up in the morning, they go to the gym the day before, and they forget to roll out or they don't stretch, and they wake up and they're like, oh man, I'm so sore. But to be able to do something different where your body's just having fun, because people can do Zumba, they can do dance, but have you ever tried incorporating cheerleading into your routines? A lot of people, I don't think that's ever crossed their mind. So right. To be able to have this fun, unique fitness where people haven't done this before, like that's where they're going to be able to see results. And yeah, if you do have experience in cheerleading in the past and you did it in high school or college, like it's fun to think about the memories of, oh yeah, like I'm doing a rumble, right? Or I'm doing a lib, or I'm kicking my leg in the air. Like that's what's fun, because they can reflect on it and you can see, man, I remember how much fun I had this, that like strikes up that memory. Plus you're getting just the fun and awesome workout in.
Right. Yeah. It's fun. Because I don't include a lot of jumping anymore in my regular exercise routines, and adding even just jumping jacks, which I have done over the years, and but like two-stepping and jumping jacks, like are two major things that I used to do all the time, and how hard they are because I haven't done them, and how much coordination it takes. And so it adds a different level of coordination and movement feedback into your body, which I think is really important in just general health, and how we move as adults, like challenging ourselves. Because when we always do the same thing over and over again, our body gets used to it. And so throwing in something that's maybe remembered or maybe not, but it's a different activity, it challenges you, and it will even though I get frustrated because I'm like, I can't do this. But it reminds your body of what it used to do. It challenges your brain in a way, and then it helps you to learn to, it'll expand your balance, it'll expand your mobility in general. And so, I think you're spot on, right? Like, and it's fun and different. And, what's nice is not everybody has to have been a cheerleader to be able to do it. You can learn and do, you're not actually stunting. You're going through motions of stunting and mock stunting, which everybody can do on the ground, and in some shape or form. So.
Right, exactly. And I like the point where you said, you get frustrated and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. Like, if you could do it, it wouldn't be fun. It wouldn't be challenging. So to be able to have something that you can work towards, if it's a jumping jack and you can only do 2 at the time, and you're like, oh my goodness, I haven't done a jumping jack in like 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, think about, okay, well, this is where you started. You can work up to doing it. Because the same thing, it's like when you have Zumba, like you're going through different moves and you're like, okay, like we're doing this over and over again. Or if you're going to the gym, you're picking up a weight and you're doing this over and over again. You can only do that so many times before you're like, okay, I'm bored. Like, I want something new. And just humans in general, they're always looking for something new. They're always looking, we're always looking for challenges. So to be able to find something that you get frustrated over is a good thing. It's awesome, actually, because that only sparks something in your brain that's like, you know what? It's a challenge. I want to be able to achieve this challenge. And I think that's like a fun thing about it. And that's why people get drawn to cheerleading in general, is because they see something that wows them, or they see something that shocks them. Like, just thinking about how cheerleading, a handful of months ago got accepted into the Olympics, right? People see this that have never seen cheerleading before, and they're like, wow, it wows them, it shocks them, and they're like, I don't know, I would love to do that, or that's kind of scary, challenging, I don't know if they could do that, but it sticks with them and it's in their head because it's something that would be really, really cool to achieve. So these small challenges are actually really exciting, and to be able to do those are, only pushes you to want it more.
Very true. I think I want to dive a little bit into, we don't have to go deep into like your injury stuff, but I want to touch on your back injury and your concussion. Maybe one, because those, as I do presentations on cheer injuries, and my studies have been on cheerleading injuries, those are 2 of the common, back pain and concussions, and ankle sprains are like the 3 most common cheerleading injuries there are. And concussions, they're not necessarily as high as other sports, but they've grown exponentially for cheerleaders in the last really probably 10 to 12 years. And so for both ends, I think it's, you touched on a very common subject that people get very snarky, like whether it's coaches or fellow teammates, like taking one person out of a routine. I get it, because I've been on both sides of it as a coach and as a cheerleader. And now as a physical therapist, I'm looking at it different and saying, hold on, let's look at this more healthily. But like, one person's missing and like the entire routine is changed. And so I get that on one end, but on the other end, we're not taking into account the importance of letting our bodies heal and recover. And especially post concussion, that, it really takes time. You have to get yourself back and be ready to go, because the consequences of that long term are very detrimental. So I don't know where my question was leading on that, but like, I think it sucks that people gave you a hard time. I understand where it comes from on their end, but I also think that hopefully, and it's part of the reason I want this podcast, is that hopefully people start to realize, like, our body, we have one body and it needs to last us for however long we're here. And we need to be patient with each other and know that, like, yeah, for me, cheerleading is my life too. Like, obviously I'm, growing from there, but it's not the end all be all necessarily. Your health and your wellness and your physical being are are more important in being able, and if you do have a concussion and you go back too soon and you're not quite there, right? Like not only you could get injured, but like someone else could get injured.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm really proud of you for recognizing that. I think that's hard as both a high school and a college student, and getting the pressure from peers and knowing, okay, I got to take a break and let myself recover. Like, because I don't think, I think we all feel that pressure from others, and it's hard to necessarily acknowledge that. And
Right. Yeah. And Laura, I think it's amazing what you're doing too, just like bringing awareness and like helping cheerleaders, with physical therapy movements too, because a lot of times the scariest thing to hear as a cheerleader is if something's wrong with you, like you're stopping cheer. Like that's what every single doctor tells you. That's what every single trained medical professional will tell
right.
you. They're like, you're cheerleading, out.
Yeah.
Stop. Yeah. Rather than just saying, okay, here's the right movements to be able to help you get back to where you were before. Like I said, my junior year of high school, I had to take a little bit of time off because I was pushing so hard that my spine started twisting to the right. And because I was doing a lot of cartwheels, because a lot of my power was coming from my left side. I was very dominant. So that started twisting my spine to the right, as odd as that sounds. But I did go to a chiropractor and a physical therapist, and they did tell me, you should take some time off from cheerleading. A lot of people hear that and it's detrimental. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to stop what they're completely in love with and their identity. But to be able to, like, the way I quickly recovered was doing core exercises, because they said your back was too strong. You do not have enough core muscles to be able to, offset your back muscles. So when I started implementing like a lot of core moves, like training a lot of core crunches, all these I guess it was Pilates, so to say, like some exercises in there. Like that's when I started to be able to feel better because my core was stronger. And yeah, I mean, girls are always going to be, snarky. I guess they want everything to be perfect for their stunts. But when someone's taken out, like, I get it. I totally get it. I'd feel the same way. If one of my, when I coached my teams, some girls were out, I was like, oh man, like we need you. You're every single member is a crucial part of the team. So it's hard not to get frustrated. I totally get that. But yeah, concussions can definitely play a huge part in, a person's life. Too many, it's never a good thing.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's always good to take time and actually heal and listen to your body rather than jumping to something so quickly.
Yeah. I mean, I think people forget that a concussion is actually a brain injury, and that's, if your brain's not functioning right, then there's a whole lot that doesn't function with that.
Yep.
No, and what I hope that people, I mean, there's teenage nature and there's competitive nature. And to an extent, I think that's just human nature. But, I think in general, if we can learn to be a little bit nicer to each other and recognize that where we're coming from. And that's what I like what you were saying about starting your club team at CU, like that it was inclusive and like you were supportive and you're encouraging, on all of my cheer teams, whether I was cheering or coaching, like we always had some drama. But at the end of the day, we all came back together and, pulled together and my memories now, after 30 years of being on the cheer team, or after 10 years of coaching, being done with coaching, my memories are the times I spent talking and laughing with my teammates. And like, we forget that when we're in the midst of it, and like the bonds that you form. And some of the arguments I think can be sisterly arguments, and just basic hormone stuff. But I think if we can remember and walk away and go into each practice and come out of each practice like, okay, I got to leave my my stuff at the door, and I've got to come in and I've got to, be focused on my team. Someone else is probably struggling like I am. Take a breath. Hey, give a high five, like support each other. And because you're going to be safer and you're going to achieve more if you can keep that mindset instead of being so grumpy because somebody passed a note and I don't, something silly and, outside of practice, and then leave it. And outside of practice, go and have a good time. And, and remember that your friends also, and I think that,
Right.
I think that's awesome that you created that environment and are continuing to keep that going. And because I think that's a big piece that gets missing in our health and just our general, health and well-being, is that connection to people.
Yeah. And especially too with cheerleading. I mean, I think cheerleading is the one of the only sports where you're working so closely with one another. If you think about baseball, you think about soccer, like you think about dance, gymnastics even. You're all doing your own kind of individual performance, right? You're either hitting a bat, you're either doing a tumbling skill yourself, where it's like when you think about cheerleading, it's constant communication and you all have to feel that meshness to be able to hold a stunt up. Like that's something that, maybe rugby I can relate to, where that constant communication where they all have to be in sync in order to work together and hold someone else up in the air. Like that's what a lot of other sports don't have. So to be able to do that, you all have to communicate and you all have to, verbally know how to interact with one another and solve issues, not by pissing each other off,
Right.
but by, constantly and kindly communicating and friendly reminding each other. And yeah, I mean, I think that's communication is a huge aspect now that, I work with adults. It's a lot easier than high school or college students, of course, because we all know how to communicate respectfully with one another, which I'm very thankful for. But that's something that I incorporate into my Cheerbod challenge community too, is the constant support, the high fives, the saying, hey, you got this, let's do this. Like that encourage, that motivation really just makes people want to try harder and push harder. Because when other people are supporting one another, when other people are seeing results, that only drives everyone else to feel that communication and to feel that compassion that we have. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, absolutely. You had mentioned in your in one of your videos that you learned a lot from your grandmother over the years. And and specifically on nutrition wise, can you touch on that a little bit and where your I don't philosophy and how she's influenced you and where you're at today on nutrition?
Yeah, exactly. So nutrition, aside from the cheerbod fitness aspect of it, I also work with my members on nutrition, and nutrition has been a huge journey for me ever since I was younger. Like I think when I was about 10 years old, so probably 14 years ago, I would say, my family started just accumulating health problems, whether it was gluten sensitivity, whether it was celiac disease, whether we knew someone with Crohn's disease, and digestive issues, gluten intolerance. Like all of a sudden, our family and people around us started actually having these body shifts based on the food that we were eating. Now, at that point in time, we didn't exactly know that, but my grandma, she decided to do some research online and she was finding these articles that were making these wild claims, right? Wild claims by saying, hey, if you substitute some brown rice instead of wheat, you could potentially feel better. And so we tried that, and all of a sudden, like some digestive issues were gone. And so she decided to keep continuing furthering her research. And growing up, we were always hearing how, this sort of chip has a bad oil, or this sort of food wasn't good for us. And it was a constant trial and error in order to make sure that we were feeling better and learning rather than just going to a doctor and getting an over-the-counter drug to mask the pain temporarily for that time and point in being. So over the past 10 years, I feel like it's been really amazing. And I'm so thankful that she's constantly drilled this knowledge into us and made me really want it, because me personally experiencing a lot of gluten insensitivity myself, I wanted to know what was going on with my body. And the more that my friends would mention to me that they were having problems too, or clients that I've worked with, I wanted to help them and say, okay, could it be because of the foods that you were trying to put in your body, and what modifications or what kind of changes could we see if we did make small modifications to the foods that you were eating? And I tell you, like 99% of the time, it turned out that their foods that they were eating that were causing them problems, digestion, bloating, was all solved by food. So I've been working on it personally. Now, I'm not a certified nutritionalist by any means, but I've had the past 14 years to really dive in and understand why that these foods are affecting our body. And from there, I've been working as a certified personal trainer. I've integrated it with my cheerleading certification as well. And now giving nutritional suggestions just to my clients to say, hey, if something isn't working, if you're feeling bad, if you're feeling bloated, these foods have helped me. They've helped other people that I've recommended and I've helped. Like, they could potentially work for you too. So just to be able to really understand through everything that I've personally gone through, everything that my clients have gone through, my friends have gone through, like, I'm so thankful that I've had the understanding and the knowledge to be able to share with other people, because you only have one life, as with your body and with your fitness, but the food that you really eat affects you, affects the longevity of your life, affects your work you do, affects your job, like, affects you to be able to be mentally clear, that energy, that mood. So to be able to have this knowledge that I can share with others really is rewarding. And I'm hopefully able to continue to share it with whoever wants it. And, I love sharing. And those that want it, I'm more than happy to share it with them.
That we have a lot in common on that. My mom was diagnosed with MS when I was born, basically a year after I was born. And she went traditional medicine route for the first 10 years. And then she's like, I feel lousy. I don't want to be on this medication. What else can I do? And her friend was into more natural foods, they called it at that time. And so she made a complete shift, and like her whole diet changed. And through the years, she's just like, this was back in 1977-ish, 75, somewhere in that time frame, which was like unheard of at that, like, oh, no more white bread, wheat bread, like, or no more white bread. We're going to, Wonder Bread. We're going to switch and go to a wheat bread, and we're going to have, all these different things. We still had snacks in the house, and we still had like normal things in the house, but like, she made a big shift, and she started paying attention to how she felt and her eating habits. And she's still, she struggles a little bit today, but she's 54 years older. So now, she, for a long time, she's, managed this and hasn't been on any traditional medication. And she always goes back to it, when you pay attention to what you put in your mouth and how you feel with it, it will change your life. And, as fitness professionals, we, talk about, we can't out-train a poor diet. I don't like to promote one particular. I think you have to see what you feel like on it, and try. You have to do it for a while, and you have to give yourself a chance and know that it will take some time. And if something, I think the key takeaway there is listen to what you feel like. Like, so often we go through blindly whether it's moving, taking a walk, or it's eating something, we go through blindly and don't feel what we're feeling, and how what we put in our mouth actually affects, what we're doing outside. And that can definitely, it can create brain fog. It can create everything. So I think that's spot on. And I look forward to learning more as your journey continues with it. Cause I think it's exploding now. I think people are starting to pay attention and understand that, what we put in our mouth makes a difference. And you're helping to expand people's knowledge on that. And that's huge. And, tuning into what it feels like when you do that. So.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I like your point that you mentioned, like there's not a one diet or a one size fits all, right? There's paleo out there, there's keto out there, there's, carnivore, vegetarian, veganism. There's all sorts of different diets out there. And sure, some work better than for other people too, but it's hard to be able to just cut cold turkey and say, I'm going keto today and I'm going to sustain it for the rest of my life. Like that's kind of a long shot, right? Because if you're having a different sort of diet or you're eating differently, it's hard to just cut cold turkey and do that. You start to get cravings for other things too. So to be able to really understand, where you're at in a certain point in time, that's what I work with my clients a lot on too, is to really take a deep dive. Like you can't go on these cookie cutter programs and, hope that they last a long time, because truth is, like more often than not, it's inconsistent because you're just cutting out a lot of tasty items that you've tried in your past. But I work really hands-on with my clients, and I try to get to know everything about them, whether it's what they enjoy, what they don't like, what their cravings are. What are you eating day to day? At what time are you eating it? At what time are you craving it? Because it's hard to be able to help someone if you don't ask all of these questions, if you don't know their eating habits. And to be able to make small modifications over time, that's where you're going to say, okay, like this isn't stressful because I'm not changing too many factors at one point in time. I'm making these small changes so that they feel comfortable. They feel that we're taking these items and it's not a stressful process whatsoever. But, with cookie cutter programs, like sometimes it's hard for people to do, but making small adjustments over time is really going to be able to help and see the benefit there.
And one thing I think that's helped me also is keeping track and knowing how much I'm eating. And, even me as a health professional, I know like if I eat too little, it's not a good thing, but how much is too little and how much is too much? I think in the cheer world, whether as adults or even as cheerleaders, there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of focus on weight in the, for flyers specifically. And you still need to eat enough to be able to feel your body, to be able to go and do what you're doing. And, you calorie cutting to an extreme is not going to get you to fly better. It potentially could actually make you worse because you're going to lose your muscle strength and not be able to hold yourself up. So making sure you're eating enough is important in weight management as well as keeping strength and all that stuff. But like you have to eat enough. It's not just a matter of it's a finding that balance and,
Yeah, exactly. And what I like to focus on is like protein, fats, and carbs. And to be able to have a balance of this is really, really essential. Whether it's to meet any weight loss goals or making sure that you're full and you're satisfied. Because if you think about it, like, even as a cheerleader, as a flyer, and you're, wanting to be, leaner so that you can fly better, or, a specific weight because someone told you should be a specific weight. you're going to do that by being healthy, right? To be able to focus on your proteins, your fats, and your carbs. And when you think about snacking, you know, say you get really hungry and people have snacks because they're not fully they're not fully satisfied and satiated. So they tend to snack, just grab the chips because they're easy, just grab a cookie because it's there, you know, drink some soda because it's convenient and gives you quick sugar to be able to continue practicing or continue your energy throughout the day. Whereas if you have protein keeps you full, like that's going to be able to help you see results while not putting on weight if you have the correct amount of fat. Whereas when I talk about fat, I'm not talking fat that will make you fat, but like healthy fat, like, you know, nuts and whatnot. But the correct amount too, that's not going to be able to put weight on you. And then carbs, like carbs aren't bad. Vegetables have carbs, fruit has carbs, of course, some starchy items, but to be able to know the balance will really make you an overall well-performing human and athlete in general. So it takes a minute. It takes a minute to actually understand that. But, you know, I think making these small changes, and even people that work with me in my program, I help them understand so that they can have the tools to go off and, you know, really understand and be successful for themselves and continue to share the knowledge, spread the wealth of knowledge so that they can tell with other people too.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good points. Do you for the cheer challenge, is it an ongoing enrollment? Like, how do you structure that? Like,
yeah, so currently we're doing a 12-week challenge for like the first 12 weeks, and then, you know, we have a Cheerbod challenge phase 2 for people that are, you know, continuing their journey and wanting to have fun with the workouts, wanting to continue their nutrition, and wanting just to overall hit their goals. But within the first 12 weeks, you get the fun Cheerbod fitness. It's already pre-recorded workouts that I've personally handcrafted for the past 12 years. I've taken all my knowledge and plopped it into 12 weeks to be able to give people. So it's really fun because it's unique fitness exercises where you can't get anywhere else. They're not going to show you it on any other sort of a platform out there. And there's, of course, the nutrition modifications, which I throw in, and I hand work with you to make sure that you feel good and it's easy and it's not stressful. And there's the accountability aspect too, where I'm holding your hand and I'm guiding you through, because we're going to hit those goals and have an awesome and fun time while doing so. So women, and specifically like busy, high achieving women that are wanting to do the Cheerbod challenge in less than 30 minutes, whenever they do it, they a lot of times with their current fitness, they're not having fun. So it only makes sense for them to do something that they really enjoy, do something different, challenge themselves and have fun. So that is what the 12-week program is about.
awesome. So is there anything that we've missed that you wanted to touch on today? I think we touched on a lot of great information as far as nutrition and creating exercise. So
yeah, you know, I think that's about it. If you know, is it fine if I tell people where to find me if they have questions?
Yeah, that was my next question. So that's perfect. Good
okay.
segue.
Yeah. So, yeah, if anyone is interested in the Cheerbod challenge, then they can always go to juliaehrlichfitness.com, find more information. Also, you know, you can hit me up on Facebook, just Julia Ehrlich. I also have my fitness and nutrition secrets Facebook group. That's a free Facebook group where I post all my tips about cheerleading, fitness, accountability, and nutrition. So I'm always updating that every single day, which people can join to be a part of. And my Instagram, just Julia Ehrlich Fitness. You'll see all my fun experience over the past handful of years that I've been training people and doing it myself too.
Cool. And I'll make sure those are in the show notes also, so people will be able to easily reach you.
Awesome. Awesome.
One last question. Can you give an easy tip to for fitness at home? Anything, like one easy thing that people could incorporate today into their daily routine?
Yes. Fitness and specifically, or
I define fitness like strength, mobility, rest and relaxation, hydration, nutrition, mindset. And there's a sixth one. Enrico, that is six. That's six. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
We'll start with something easy. So hydration is a huge part of anyone's day, and the reason why people have cravings, or the reason why people feel not full or just, groggy in the morning, is they don't get enough water. So my challenge to you, or to anyone that's watching this too, is just to wake up, drink a 16-ounce glass of water, and I promise you that you will feel not like you're starving when you wake up, but you will feel satiated and satisfied, and your morning will just go a lot better because you're hydrated. You can think properly, rather than getting into your day. So I wake up, I drink a 40-ounce hydro flask every single morning before even eating any food or before doing my workouts. And I can tell you, it gives you a great start to your day and already gets in a lot of your water for the day, so you don't have to worry about that. So including that in, as well with a quick stretch, will be able to start you off with a great morning.
Awesome tip. I love that. And including that has been one of my good takeaways. Like I'm continuing to, I have to remind myself, but carrying that water bottle around with me, knowing that I got to get my water in, like it's been huge. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Always happy to help.
Well, thank you so much for jumping on. If if something comes up in the future that you want to come on and talk about, I would love to have you back again. And everybody, check out the show notes. Go check out Julia and check out her Cheerbod challenge program and fitness secrets for high achieving women, right?
Fitness and nutrition secrets.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me on, Laura. This was fun.
Thanks for being here. Everybody have a great day. Don't forget, when in doubt, breathe out and take it one step at a time, and we'll see you next time.